Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. I just want to let you know that you can submit questions into the Q&A feature. We're going to be reserving the chat box today as a way for us to share easy links for you. So please refrain from using the chat, and you can put any questions you have into the Q&A. And I will do my best to answer them along the way, but we will reserve the majority of them for the end of our webinar or the end of the presentation. So we'll have a presentation for about 25-30 minutes, and then we will manage all the Q&As. So just want to let you know, if you put your question in the Q&A and it doesn't get answered right away, that we will get to you. Thank you so much, and looking forward to getting started in a few minutes.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is actually 12:03 on our clocks. I want to say thank you for taking the time to be with us this afternoon and allow us to present information about Central Coast Community Energy. I do want to let everybody know we do record these public webinars, and then we turn them into YouTubes and post them on our YouTube page. And so just want to let you know that it is being recorded, and so that if you do not want that to happen, please do not actually then join us. All right. We have quite a few attendees today, so we want to say thank you for taking the time to spend your noon with us. Much appreciated. My name is Susan Davison. I'm actually called a key account specialist, and I'm a point of contact with Central Coast Community Energy, also known as CCCE. You'll find that we use a lot of acronyms in the presentation, and so please feel free to actually use the Q&A box when we do. We tend to forget that acronyms get a little messy in our business, and so CCCE, which you see on the homepage, is actually the acronym for who we are, Central Coast Community Energy. We're also joined today by Jenna Espinoza, who is an energy account specialist. She and I are both out of the San Luis Obispo office. And we're also joined by Oswaldo Martinez, our public affairs account specialist, and he is also out of our San Luis Obispo office. So, all right, who are we? Central Coast Community Energy is a public agency whose role is to provide electricity power to the Central Coast. We look forward to sharing our organization with you today, and we look forward to any questions that you might have. Again, please use the Q&A box. We will answer both questions in the Q&A. And then we do have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation, and we will answer additional questions then. So please use the chat feature because we will actually be posting information there. And so make sure that you actually see what pops up in the chat feature, because we're going to be sharing websites and all sorts of information. We also do share out the presentation. So the information, you'll be able to go back and look at it too if you want to. So thank you for joining us this afternoon. Here's our agenda for today. We've already been through introductions. We've got a presentation and our Q&A. Whoop, got a little carried away there, didn't I? All right. A little bit of housekeeping. So this webinar is most helpful for customers who are enrolling in.
Excuse me, Susan, we'd love to see your screen if you could share the PowerPoint with us.
Thank you.
That's
would be actually really nice, wouldn't it?
Give everyone something to look at. And yes, everyone, please do keep putting your questions in the Q&A. Thank you so much.
All right. Now, can you, oops, let's see. Thank you for reminding me. All right, now can you see my screen?
Yes, thank you.
Actually, nope, that's the wrong screen. We're going to do this again. Hold on. Hold on a minute so I get to the right slide. So I make sure I share the, thank you for reminding me. I can see it, but nobody else can see it, and that's not fair. Okay, can you see that screen?
Yes, and that looks perfect.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, so here's our agenda, which we've already talked about. And also here is our actually housekeeping. All right, and so this webinar is for enrolled customers who actually have wind, solar, and battery storage, and also for customers who are enrolling with us. We have customers down in South Central Barbara County, as well as in the city of Buellton, who are enrolling into service, and so it's for both. Those enrolling customers will come into service. The NEM customers will come into service in January of 2022. So this is a bit of information of what's coming. And for those customers that are actually from Santa Cruz all the way down to Santa Barbara that are currently being served by us, this is also for you because we have the shift coming for billing in January of 2022. So Central Coast Community Energy is actually committed to providing our solar and renewable customers with economic and environmental benefits. We thank you for being early adopters in this effort to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, grow our clean energy resources across the state, and also save yourself money. So this webinar is most helpful for existing and enrolling customers, as we discussed. We also have another webinar, January 11th, where we'll continue to answer specific questions about the process and timelines and such. You can go to our website. We do post how to access these different webinars. And so we'll actually put a link in the chat box as we go through stuff so you can actually find information, where our website's located and how to look for some of this information. So thank you. Who are we? So we actually started as Monterey Community Power when we crafted and created, and cities and counties asked for us to come and serve them. And so in fall of last year, we actually changed our name to Central Coast Community Energy. That's important because that's actually the area that we serve. This service is known as CCA, Community Choice Aggregation. And as a CCA, we procure power from clean and renewable sources on behalf of the communities that want local control over their electric sources and prices. So if you have a home or business in parts of Central Coast, you may have heard about us as Monterey Bay, but we've now been using Central Coast Community Energy now for the last year. So we just want our name to accurately reflect the diversity of the region that we serve. These are some of the FAQs that we will touch upon today. Who we are, how do we collaborate with the utilities, both PG&E and Edison? What are the goals? What's happening with the shift to monthly billing? And then any questions at the end. So we work with and partner with both Southern California Edison and Pacific Gas and Electric. And we want you to know what you can expect as you actually have service with us. We'll also discuss the resources available to you as a customer and cover some of these FAQs, both in the presentation and also when we get to our Q&A session. We've allocated plenty of time to answer your questions. And so to be mindful of time, we ask that you put your questions in the Q&A so that we can actually have them in one place and not multiple places, and we can actually quickly and promptly answer your questions. Thank you. So did you know we're actually a public agency established under what's called a Joint Powers Agreement. And our purpose, again, is to buy clean and renewable electricity. CCAs, they're actually across the state of California. We serve 11 million customers in the state of California. There are CCAs actually in 9 states in the nation. We're not the first state to have a CCA. Our CCA, each CCA has a mission and a goal, and we actually support equity, choice, and renewable energy. And CCAs serve more than 200 communities just in the state of California. So being a CCA allows communities to purchase their own electricity and divert the excess revenues into local community investments rather than shareholders of investor-owned utilities. And so CCAs are altering how energy is sourced And we're rapidly transforming the market in the energy sector. And we are also engaging with communities along the way because we actually want to know how we can serve you. So the legislation that was put into place began in 2002. It's called AB 117. And the first CCA in California was in Marin County in 2010. It took a while for CCAs to get their legs underneath them, and then we've been moving ever since. The ongoing expansion of CCAs in the state demonstrates the success of this model. And so the first CCA in California started serving 40,000 customers. We're now at 11 million customers. We ourselves formed in 2018 with a commitment to reduce greenhouse gas emissions through local control and the implementation of innovative energy programs that facilitate the electrification of transportation in the built environment. We as a CCA promote long-term electric rate stability and energy security while reducing our reliance on fossil fuels and stimulating the local economy. We serve 33 cities and counties across the Central Coast, and that means we provide electric generation service in these communities. So from Santa Cruz to Santa Barbara, we have the largest geographic footprint. We're only the 5th largest CC in the state by how much energy use we procure and share out. So how does a CCA work? We talked about AB 117, passed in 2002. And CCAs actually offer communities to be able to choose their energy, the source. Then what happens is we buy the power and it's delivered on the existing transmission lines. So that's why we partner with Edison and PG&E. And so we actually deliver cleaner, more competitive energy across the existing utility lines. So a city or county joins our CCA to actually provide economic and environmental benefits to the local communities. We are one of 13 CCAs just in PG&E territory. And so what we want to share is that by 2022, 50% of the customers in the state of California will actually be served by CCAs. That's because the revenue generated stays local. And our goal is to keep electricity rates lower for our customers, while also creating energy programs that you have access to. Benefits and benefits. This is actually, as a public agency, we don't answer to shareholders, but are governed by these boards. The policy boards make large organizational decisions, and then the operations board pays attention to the budget and the financial discussions. Some of our accomplishments, or what you can expect for us, is local choice, how your energy is purchased, economic vitality. We actually put our energy programs back in the community and also source local. We pay attention. We also we have 2 offices, one in San Luis Obispo, one in Monterey, that's dedicated to supporting our customers and our communities. We are financially stable. I consider us the most financially stable CCA in the state of California. We received the first A rating, S&P A rating of any CCA. And so it allows us to provide stable and consistent rates to our customers. And then we actually secure long-term purchasing contracts for our clean energy. And we track and pay attention to, so that we're aiming towards 100% of our clean and renewable resources by 2030. So we're very proud of the things that we've accomplished in our time in the Central Coast. This is an example of the energy programs that we craft and create. Since this presentation is not about energy programs, we're going to drop a link in the box where you can go look at them. We have a range of energy programs like Electrify Your Ride across. And so we pay attention to and listen to what programs benefit, like the electric school bus programs and others. And so please take the time to look at the energy programs, because you are served by both the utility, the IOU, PG&E, or Edison, and you're also served by us. So you can participate in programs with both agencies. We have a pathway and a plan to 100% clean and renewable by 2030. We have already signed contracts, long-term contracts, that actually get us to the 60% by 2025. And those contracts are coming into play in the next 2 years so that we are ahead of the goal. And then we are planning for 100% renewable by 2030, which means that we will end up with just one cost-effective, stable program for our customers by 2030. That is actually 15 years ahead of the IOUs and the state's goal. So here's an example of our a Electrify Your Ride program. Please clip and take a look at, you'll get the presentation also. Look at the Electrify Your Ride at the bottom. We used to have different programs, and what we've done is we start to merge them together so you can actually participate. And let's say you need a panel for your house in your garage to plug your charger in, or you want the EV first and then you're going to add the panel, or however you want to install. Let's say you have a business locally and you want to install a local EV charger for your customers. We put together a bucket of programs so that you actually can access it, and access it in the order that's important to you. Here's another program. This is actually was just launched last Thursday. And so community-based organizations, private nonprofit businesses, public agencies, schools, and school districts are eligible to apply online. And so this community education and workforce grant, this is where we take the revenue and we put it into programs, and it provides individual grants up to $100,000. We're really looking for proposals that focus on resources to underserved, disadvantaged, and/or at-promise communities. But we suggest you submit something and be of service to your community and access this funding. So by providing workforce education, training, and development, the grant recipients will address gaps that actually, and so our goal is to actually advance electrification across different sectors. As we know that EV chargers are coming to the state and such, and our goal is actually to pay attention to what's needed. And so these education, training, and development grants equip us and also our local workforce with the skills and knowledge required to advance and work in these technologies. Applications are open until February 7th, and we'll drop a link in the chat about how you can access it. All right, now we're in the meat of our proposal and our presentation, I guess I would say, not proposal. Helpful definitions. So as NEM customers, you're really much more aware of what's going on with energy use. And so you probably already know what these definitions are. We'll see them continue to pop up in the chat box or the Q&A box. We have 37,000 active NEM customers across the region. Most of our NEM customers are residential. We have quite a bit of ag actually in the Central Coast. About 30% of our customers are ag customers. And because of the cost to actually serve agriculture, we continue to see our agriculture customers add solar and other renewables to their sites to actually control and keep their energy use low. So if you're a wind or solar or battery customer, you'll be transitioning to monthly billing in January of 2022. You've already received notices. We pay attention. We make sure these notices are in the bill, okay? And so they will come out. They've come out in actually November and December, and we will have notices again in February and March to make sure you're aware of what's happening. All of our NEM customers, existing and new customers, will shift to monthly billing. Currently, the bulk of our customers, the commercial and our ag customers, all of them are already in monthly billing because it helps them pay attention to their monthly bills, address their energy use, and it actually allows for very quick adjustments and understanding of what's happening when you're using your energy in your house. So this is an example of the current billing structure, all right? And so what happens is you're billed annually. If you overgenerate, you got an NSC, all right? So you could be a net user, which means you pull from the grid, or a net generator, which means you put into the grid. And then you're billed for charges at the end of the year. So you're normally billed annually for electric charges. The usage is documented on your bill each month, but payment's not required at that time. You will note that we show up we partner with the utility. Both utilities actually produce the billing. We are just a page in the bill. And so because your NEM is actually permission to operate is through the utility, that's why we partner together. So it makes it really clear that you're getting information in one place. All right. And so annual usage is still calculated and your account is still trued up. This still happens with your monthly billing. That doesn't change. And so since 95% of our customers use more energy in a month than they generate, they're net users, this results in a one-time payment, okay? And so under this current structure, if you're not paying attention and you continue to use energy, quite a few of our residential customers end up with a very large annual true-up bill. Okay. And so that is what we're looking to, why we're shifting into monthly billing. As I indicated earlier, we have commercial and agriculture customers already in monthly billing, and all our new customers coming in are going into monthly. This is not something that's new, and the utilities are continuing to move in that direction also. So it's not just us deciding to do this. So since you as NEM customers are aware of your usage, you know that California has been moving to time of use for the last few years, and it's been moving across the central state of California. And so the time of use, the same thing happened where our agriculture and our commercial customers were the first one put into time of use by the utilities. And then the residential customers that just started to finish and occur this year. And so this is the same thing that's happening across the state, is that both the CCAs and the utilities are moving into monthly billing, so that there is a real awareness of energy usage. It's about the knowledge of energy usage that allows you to actually stand in this space. If you generate more than you use each year, there is a credit, okay? And usually what happens is the credit shows up on the bill, all right? So let's go to what's coming, all right? Your NEM agreement with your solar agreement with PG&E Edison is not changing. Again, remember they issue the permission to operate. They're the ones who tie you to you're tied to the grid through the power lines. And so what'll happen is that doesn't change. The early adopters, okay, you're still allowed to remain with your legacy rates. So pay attention as the bills and the notes come in, you know, the extra stuff that shows up in your bills, because you may be asked, do you want to keep your legacy rates by the utility? We do not set the rates for each meter. The rates are set by the utility, and then we actually duplicate it or follow behind it and discount it. And so pay attention to the pieces that come in your bill, because you want to make sure that you can maintain and keep your legacy rates, especially if you're a NEM 1.0 customer. NSC will continue as we move into monthly billing. It's not going away. And we actually always have paid more than the utility. And we post our rates and our NSC and such on our website. And so you can always see what the rates were before. We archive the old rates, and we also show the new rates. So we don't hide anything. You get to see actually what is the NSC rate as a NEM customer. Our goal is to actually add more flexibility with the NEM credits also. We'll talk about that in a minute. And the state is looking for improved visibility of charges and credits when they're asking all the NEM customers to move to monthly billing. So this is the monthly billing structure that goes into place in January. So what happens is you get a meter read date. So that meter has, let's say, a NEM rate on that meter read date, which you can look at your bill and see when each month what that date is. All right. And so it goes into place January on the meter read date. So the monthly billing will actually show up in February. And so this means that you're not going to have a large accumulated charge due at your annual true up. What's going to happen is you're going to see any kind of fees or charges that are due show up on the bill, okay? So this means that there will be a true up, okay? The utilities require a true up because they want to make sure that they've collected for their energy that they've served you. And when, as a NEM customer, when we start serving you in January on your meter read date, they want to make sure that they have collected their money. And so when you will get a true up on the energy, okay, and then you will see us show up on your monthly bill, okay? So if you overgenerate during the month, there'll be no monthly payment due on the electricity side of the bill, on our page of the bill, okay? And the credit that you overgenerate can be applied to next month's bill. So let's say you're gone for a month and you don't use electricity, that credit that your system generates can be applied to the electric side, the CCA side, on the next month's bill, okay? You will still see, okay, on the bill, you will see the minimum monthly charge on the utility side. This is because each solar system is tied to the grid, and each utility charges a minimum, it's usually $10 or so, on the bill. That doesn't go away. Okay. We'll talk about what happens after that, but that doesn't go away. All right. And then what will happen is you will still get an annual true up. And on the annual true up at that point in time, if you have credits, you can actually apply that to both sides of the bill. Okay. So your account will transition to NEM monthly billing on your meter read date. And this will help. This is to allow you to actually be really super aware of managing your bills and the usage each month and making any quick changes. And so what happens is if with the transition and we shift to monthly billing, there's a annual year-end statement where the utility is paid for their bill. And then what happens is in December of 2022, if you have a NSC, you can either take a bill credit or actually get a check sent to you. There's a lot of information, but we promise this will be included in the presentation we share. So this is what it looks like. We will continue to show up on your bill. Okay. You'll continue to receive only one bill. So either if you're a PG&E or Edison customer, you'll still get just one bill. You do realize that as PG&E charges are about the bulk of the charge, about 2/3 of the bill, and then Central Coast will have another page slipped in, and you'll see us, we're about 1/3 of the bill. Okay. So we show up as a separate line item on the bill. Enroll existing customers in PG&E territory. You're used to seeing us on the bill already. Nothing changes with that. And so what we do is if Edison or PG&E has a specific rate tariff, we call rate tariff, sorry. We match that. And so we don't make up numbers and stuff. So whatever's shown on the bill, that is actually set up by the utility. So we stay consistent with that. So here's an example. So what I did say was it's important to note you'll continue to see your utilities monthly fee, but you'll be able to address it at true up. This is for the, because we only handle your electricity generation. All right. And so this is where you actually see the existing show up on the bill. This is example of PG&E's bill. And for customers who have credits at their annual true up, this still occurs. And then at the true up, the credits can be used to offset generation charges and the utility delivery charges because you're a shared customer. So it doesn't, that credit doesn't happen each month on the Edison charts or the utility side of the bill, but it can be used at true up. Okay, so you don't lose it. And for all of our NEM customers that are enrolling, okay, what I have to take a breath so I can speak clearly. Like I said, you will see in January, you'll see a energy true up is because Edison and PG require a true up during enrollment. And so this is something that is generated, approved by the commission and approved by the utilities and not something that we can adjust. All right. So for more information, here's where you can actually find more information on the NEM. We continue to update our website to make sure that you can access information. And also on your bill, when you get your bill, you have the PG&E or Edison call center number. You also on our page have the Central Coast Community Energy call center number. Our call center is trained on a regular basis. And so if they can't answer a question, they reach out to the staff so you can get a really clear answer. And so please feel free to reach out to our call center if you have more questions. You also actually, if you participate in any program, so if you're a CARE or FERA customer, that you still actually participate in those programs. Those don't change, okay? Please, if your income's changed, your job's changed or something, pick up the phone and call PG&E or Edison. Those programs are state programs and they're managed by the utility. And so you're provided the same discount if you're served by them or served by both of us. And so new enrollments for these programs are still done through Edison or PG&E's Customer Service Center, which is on your bill. but we really want everyone to be aware of the discounts that are the energy bill discounts that are available to you. And so at the bottom of the page, you can go to actually PG&E's website, but we also say call the call center and ask them about their different programs that you actually can participate in. We think it's really important. They have both individual programs. There's all the FIRA is the family program. And so the FIRA is for a household of 3 or more people. All right. We also, the same with the medical baseline. All residential customers that qualify for medical baseline, they get a baseline allowance. And so customers who are eligible for the medical baseline receive an additional allotment to make sure that their household gets enough energy and that medical baseline agreement and allowance is actually continues. All right. This ensures that the energy is available to the medical baseline and the other customers to support qualifying medical devices. So this is a very important program. Again, the same thing, you call PG&E or Edison and actually enroll in the program. Nothing changes with that. Because of COVID during this year, we have an AMP program that you have to be a CARE customer, things like that. And so again, you call the call center. So what happens is the Edison or PG&E call center, they enroll you in the program, and then it's a bill forgiveness. All right. We also have other programs, there's low income programs and such. And so the last piece is if you have a business, if you're a small local and diverse vendor, we actually have a registry. So look at the website on the bit.ly website, because we want to increase economic benefit to our local businesses. And so if you apply as a supplier you align with our supplier diversity, we actually procure from small and local businesses as an essential step of how we think about bringing our revenue back into the communities. And so it's part of when we create programs, it's something that's very important to us. This is how you find the call center. All right. So info at, and there's phone numbers and such. All right. And so tonight's webinar is being recorded and it gets posted on our website. Now we're in the important part, the Q&A session. All right. So I'm going to take a breath because I've been talking and talking and talking and say, Oswaldo and Jenna, do you want to start with some Q&As?
Yes, thank you, Susan, for all of that. One person was asking, you mentioned that there's something that we cannot change. I believe it was in reference to PG&E's true update. Could you touch upon how PG&E's true update will be different than Central Coast Community Energy's?
Okay, so you have two buckets in you actually have two big buckets in your bills. And normally as a utility customer, everything is all bundled. We call it bundled service in your bill. As you choose service with both PG&E and with CCA, the bill starts to get more informative. And so what happens is you'll see additional information on your bill. Okay. You're used to having a true up with PG&E. And so that was what they offered when they issued the permission to operate. You will continue to have that. Okay. But we're the electrical piece, the 1/3 of the bill. That's the next big bucket of the bill, right? And so what happens is the true up occurs in January. You start service in January, so the true up occurs, and then what happens is you shift into monthly billing. You will still have the annual billing with the utility, but what happens is we will do this true up just once. It's because as our customers are being in joint service, this is required of us. And so we shifted to monthly billing. The true up for the gen side of the bill happens in January. Okay. But then what'll happen is it'll happen just once this year. And then you will be used to seeing the true up with the utility side. And at that point in time is when you'll be able to use debits and credits and stuff. So it's a little messy, but you'll see it show up in the bill, that you'll still see the true ups, you'll still see what's occurring. And so it doesn't change your NEM process. It's just what happens is there'll be a little gen true up come early 2022. So.
Thanks, Susan. So with this new billing, will people need to pay CCCE every month?
The answer is yes, if you undergenerate. So what's happening is you shift into monthly billing and it'll show up on your February bill. And that's that first time you'll see the $10 for the utility, right? And then what'll happen is you're paying your energy bill. And so you won't end up with a annual true up big bill. You will little by little by little be paying your bill. And so that's the shift that the state is moving to. And so it's not something our NEM customers are used to. We're used to just paying one big bill once a year. And so the goal is to actually make it easier so that you actually pay little bits each month and don't have a big, large true up. And so that's why our ag customers and our commercial customers, they're all on that right now. Because that's allows them, especially in the hot summer when they're really pulling in the agriculture, it allows them to really manage their bills. And if something happens or something breaks or something shifts, it allows them to be really aware of their energy usage. And so as solar and NEM customers, you're more aware than most residential customers of your usage. And this just actually increases that awareness. It allows smaller bills on a consistent basis with no big annual true up. That's the goal.
So Susan, overall, in the long run, will people pay more on monthly billing or annual billing?
The answer is no. It's a great question, okay? Because what happens is the rates, your rate is set by the utility, and then we discount off the rate. So you're always getting the discount. The second is you're going to see the true up. And so you may be used to paying one big bill, but the answer is no, you're still going to see the rate less a discount with us. So you're going to save money over time. If you happen to be the 5% that overgenerate, we pay more net surplus compensation than the utilities. So you're actually going to get a little bump in that too when then net surplus shows up at the end of the year. And then we've also given you a little bit more bill flexibility. This is that, yes, we say you're going to see the $10 minimum charge on the bill, but what happens is when your NSC comes in, you're actually going to be able to use once a year that net surplus compensation for both gen and for the utility side. So you actually it's the same kind of service, just a shift into how often you pay your bill. That's the difference.
I believe we might have some customers from both utilities on this call, but we do have a question about specifically how our charges differ from PG&Es.
So when a specific PG&E difference, most CCAs, us included as of today, take the utility rate, we call it a rate tariff, okay? The utility establishes a rate based upon your usage. And then that rate, there's 75 different rates, if you don't know that. Those rates are actually given by the utility to the commission, and the commission approves the rates. And then those rates are what the utility says, okay, starting January 1st of this year, we're going to be using these rates. Those rates are posted somewhere on the utility websites. What we do is when the utility lets the commission know what the rates are going to be, we take those rates, all 75 of them, and then we discount them, okay? And then our rates are less than the utilities. So that's what shows up in your bill is you actually see the same kilowatt usage on your bill, but you'll see that our rates are actually less than the local utility. And so we do the same. We're in Edison territory currently. At the current time, we're currently 2% less than the existing utilities. That has changed over time. So let's give an example of how we think as an agency. We didn't include this information in the presentation. When COVID hit across the state, the nation, the world actually, when COVID hit and was affecting our customers and there was so much stress going on, our board voted in May and June to discount our side of the bill 50% for 2 months. Every customer got it, from the biggest commercial account to the smallest nonprofit account. Everybody got that discount. That came out of the revenue that we have a rate revenue bucket that we put the revenue into, and then it gets used for programs and for rate stability. So that's an example of how we think. We didn't ask for that money back. That credits showed up on the bills. And so the goal is for us as an agency is that money comes back into the community when it's necessary and needed, and actually used for the benefit of our customers. And so we continue to think of things like that shift and change, that those will be steps that our board take again. We do not have shareholders that actually get any of this revenue. And so the last piece, I'm kind of wandering all over, but the last piece is you will always see our rates on our page. So if PG&E raised their rates in January, we post our new rates on our website. We also post the old ones. And so what's happening is when the utilities move their rates, we are nimble and small and pay it and care about rate stability, and we make sure that we adjust our rates so the customers are still getting their discount as we move into a new rate structure for the utility.
Thanks, Susan. A couple questions about credits. So does the credit carry over at the end of the year? What happens to any credits that have currently been built up at this time?
All right, so the current credits built up at this time as the utility trues up, that should occur, okay? But I'm gonna have to confirm that. So, all right, because I want to make sure I'm 100% certain on that one. So I'm going to shift for a moment and say, on the gen side, okay, as you're generating credits and you're putting back into the grid, they accumulate. If by 1 month you actually didn't generate credits and you pulled some, you can use those credits. At the end of the year, when the net surplus compensation is looked at, what happens is if you're a residential customer and you have more than $200 in NSC, you can actually have us send you a check. If you're a commercial customer, it's $500. We can send you a check. Or you can choose and have the credits actually applied to your bill and applied to both the gen and the PG&E side. And so you can either take a credit on the bill or you can ask for a check if you meet the minimum check requirements.
Thanks, Susan. Some people are wondering what role Central Coast Community Energy is taking in the statewide conversation about NEM programs.
Great questions. I mean, our solar companies are always ahead of the curve. We actually continue to actually listen and participate. We actually have deep relationships with our local solar customers, and we actually have group presentations with them as things are unfolding. We have what we call a regulatory and legislative team who pays attention to what's happening across the state. And so we're very aware of the conversations that are occurring on all different kinds of topics, from NEM 3.0 to microgrids to local storage. We look to see what's happening, how does that affect our customers, how do we actually move in that space, make sure that our customers are aware of what we're thinking in that space. And then as opportunities come up, like let's say a microgrid or such, or behind the meter storage or things like that, we pay attention to that too. We don't develop projects, we don't go out and develop solar projects. We don't actually pay for, batteries put in your garage, that kind of stuff. But we make sure that we don't step in the way of it. And we make sure, like through the programs such as the NSC and such, that you actually get compensated better, more effectively as our customers, so that you want to stay with us.
Okay, thank you. So how is the credit calculated? Sorry, the value of credit. What is the value of the credit?
So currently, our NSC is more than PG&E and Edison, and it's halfway between wholesale and retail rates. As an M customer, you know that you purchase in time of use in different times of the day, the 24-hour time period, okay? And so the rates, again, are set by the utility, not by us. And so the state actually crafts and creates the time of use peak period from 4 to 9 and such. And so we adhere to however the state rules are put into place. And so what happens is during, you pull and push during the course of the day, and then it's all calculated in your bill. You'll see it. And then at the NSC, it's like, just think of it like your annual true up. You see that already in your annual true up. You know that your NSC is not at full retail rates, but it is more than the wholesale rate you currently receive.
Thanks, Susan. We have a couple of customers asking about whether they have to participate in monthly billing and whether they have to participate in Central Coast Community Energy.
The answer is no, you have a choice. That's why we're here. The cities and the counties, what happened was when CCAs started in California, the state wanted to make sure that we could survive because the goal was to bring the benefits back into the community. And so you are also ahead of the curve, individual or company or business or residents, because you put solar in your house to pay attention and participate in this market. You do not have to stay with us. You can choose to go back to what we call bundled service. Our goal is for your bills to be more transparent, for you to be more aware. Our goals is so that the rates, whether you buy your energy from PG&E or you buy your energy from us, we all buy in the same market. But the reality is if you stay with a CCA, you get the benefit of both programs. You get to actually see the revenues come back and be local in the community. It doesn't go to somebody who owns the stock. It actually comes back into the community. You can go to our website and look at the rates as they shift and change. We actually have a community advisory council. It's one of our boards. I kind of went over the boards pretty fast, but it's one of our boards where they bring ideas and thoughts and needs to our board and our agency so that there's a change that happens. But no, you don't have to stay with us. Okay, you have the option of choosing to go back to bundled service. And that's part of we consider the transparency of participating with us. All right.
Thanks, Susan. So yeah, I just want to clarify that everyone is auto-enrolled. We're continuing to get some questions. So I'll just say it one more time and then Oswaldo's going to jump in now too. Thank you.
Thanks, Oswaldo.
Hey, Susan. So I'm looking at some of the questions, trying to group some of them together, but there's quite a couple of questions regarding the NEM credits and how flexible CCCE is with how customers can apply those credits from the summer to the winter. So can you explain to customers how the credit system works? Like under this new system, if a customer is over generating during the summer months, can they apply those credits or can they roll those credits over to the winter months when they are not generating as much electricity?
So the answer is yes. So because everyone on this call, there's quite a few people on the call and everybody else has a different permission to operate start date. And so there is an annual true up on the utility side. Remember, we're only the gen side, okay? But because of the gen side, that's where you get the NSC. We want to make sure that when the NSC at the end of we showed December, right? Let's go back here. Here, what'll happen is the NSC, okay? It's actually not wholesale rate, it's actually our rate, not wholesale rate, okay? What'll happen is the answer is yes, you can choose Do you want it to apply across the bill of what you've been paying, or do you want it to be a bill credit? That is your choice. We are aware that in winter time, like today, your solar system is generating less credits, okay? And so what happens is in January of this year, when the true up on the gen side occurs, okay, you won't have a big bill. You're not going for the whole year. Okay. So people are saying, wait a minute, if I pay at the true up, I'm losing money. And the answer is no, you're not. So let's say you have October, November, and December, and then the gen true up occurs at the end of the, in January. What happens is then you're on monthly billing, and you could be over generating every month. Okay. February, March, April, then you just keep using that bill credit on the gen side, right? And then you got summer and you continue to build that and build that. So you're using the same amount of energy. So what happens is, this is really a quirky little thing, is in February all the way through the end of the year, you're generating on summer rates and you're building up and building up. And then your NSC comes. So technically, you might have a little bit more energy that you've actually put into the bucket, okay, because you didn't use it in December or November, which means that you're getting an NSC, and you get to use that NSC, which is we pay more than the utility, so you may make a tiny bit more money. So yes, January, we know that there's going to be a true up. There isn't anything we can do. That's how we were told this has to occur. And then what happens is we're making sure that you don't lose money at the end of that. So when the true up comes with us on the gen side again in December, you'll see it. It'll be the numbers will be exact, and you'll be able to see it on the bill. So no, it's change. This is uncomfortable because it is changing what we're used to. And so our goal was to have webinars like this to talk about this and figure out how, it's like what's coming. And it's not just us. We know the state's moving towards a monthly billing with all the solar customers. We know this is coming. And so our goal is to actually make sure we communicate this. If you choose that you want to stay with the utility, you have that option, okay? You do have that option. All right, next question. It's pouring outside.
Susan, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you've answered this question already, but just keeping it at a simple level. So there is a difference, correct, in the NSC rate and the bill credit, correct? Like the customers are getting credited at a different value than what they would receive than what their NSC rate would be if they overgenerated at the end of the year.
Correct. So if in a monthly billing, depending on the time of use you use it, what'll happen is you generate a credit. You can use that credit on the next bill. Okay. And so then the NSC, remember, you get the December true up on the gen side. And what happens is, remember, we're only doing this once, and then it will happen every year, right? And so the NSC is actually the one, that's what's left over. That's that little bucket of what you didn't use if you overgenerate. There's not a lot of customers that do that, but there are some who really pay attention and want to know what happens to that extra that they've been putting back into the grid. So yes, you do get your NSC in December.
One second, Susan, we're looking through the questions right now and looking
And I
for
want
which
to
question.
remind everybody that it is 12:55 at this time. My apologies if you hear some of the storm outside. It's really storming right now. We will finish at 1 o'clock. We know that our NEM customers really are aware of what's happening. I'm going to go back and share the call-in number and the call center. Okay. Please feel free to reach out to them. If they cannot answer your question, you can ask them to ship your question to the team that's on this call, and we'll answer more specific questions. Okay. Our goal is for you to get your questions answered. You're really aware, you're much more aware than most customers of how you use your energy, how it actually benefits you. You are the ones who chose to put solar on your residence or your business. You're the ones who made that decision. So our goal here is to be very clear, okay, that this is a shift that's coming, and how can we have a conversation so that you're aware of this, okay? So that you don't actually feel like you're not getting your questions answered. So.
Thanks, Susan. It does seem like we have quite a few customers who are new to Central Coast Community Energy and asking some questions about enrollment. So I am going to just drop some links in the chat right now. One is for our customers in the PG&E service area. It's a webinar that I did back a couple months ago, so that's a recording. And then I'm also going to drop a link in for our upcoming enrollment webinar in January for any of our new customers who are in the Southern California Edison service area. Beyond that, we have a lot of outstanding questions. As Oswaldo said, we're having trouble sorting through them all. So I think we'll just call it right now, and we will do our best to send out an FAQ that can address some of these outstanding questions at this time.
Please look at the screen. That's the call center number section. I said our goal here is to answer your questions. You will always have questions, more unique questions than any of our other customers, so we appreciate that. We always learn. We do create FAQ sheets, and we share it with the call centers so that they're more aware. Because each one of you, it's what's interesting about our solar customers is each solar customer has very specific questions that usually relate to their solar system. So as I said before, you know, if you're, let's put it this way, if I'm down in let's say Edison territory, in the new enrolling territory, and I'm getting my solar system put on, those customers are already getting moved into monthly billing. So that's already occurring for customers, both in PG&E and Edison territory. As new solar customers put on systems, they're being moved into monthly. As an existing customer, pay attention to your legacy rates, okay? As the bills come in, there's information in the bills. You're aware. Make sure you look for that. You don't want to miss an opportunity to actually make sure you keep their legacy rates. And just like the question about, you know, how do we pay attention to what's happening in solar? You know, you have that same responsibility for your solar system, okay? That's your asset, for you to pay attention to that. Because things do shift and change. And so if the state and the commission chooses to adjust the law again, you know, you're each under your own bucket. Be aware of what that bucket, what that legacy rate, what it means for you. So you want to keep your legacy rates. I actually have solar on my house, so I'm very aware of what's happening in solar systems. So thank you for that. It's really, really important. You're ahead of the curve. We hope that you've learned something, that we've answered a portion of your questions. Tonight's webinar is being recorded. It'll be posted tonight. Today's webinar is being recorded and posted on our website. There are other information on our website. Please take the time to look at that. Please reach out if you have questions. We would love to be a service, because we think that this is the movement and the change that's happening in California, that CCAs are actually allow us to actually figure out about stability, simplicity, you know, and keeping our revenue local. So I want to say thank you. We're at 1 o'clock. I'm going to end the webinar, and I appreciate your time, everything that you guys asked today. Thank you very much. Have a great day.